Hey guys, what's up? So recently I traveled to China to attend a big tech event called Beyond Expo, and my idea was to do a little tech roundup video of all the stuff I brought with me on that trip, to give you guys some tips and recommendations on useful travel tech. But I actually ended up picking up some really cool tech while I was over in China as well, stuff that I'd never seen before, or stuff that's really difficult to come by over here and that's just freely available over there. So plenty of stuff to nerd out about and hopefully some inspiration for tech to bring on your own trips this summer. Let's ramble.
Hold up, place go wild when I pull up. They all on me like they want some.
Alright, so first let's get something out of the way. I did pick up a pretty bad flu when I was over there. My voice is still recovering. Don't worry, it's not one of those patient zero situations, but yeah, you can still tell. Anyway, like I said in the intro, I was invited to Macau this year to attend an event called Beyond Expo. And I have to say, I really enjoyed it. Macau was absolutely wild. It looks like a carbon copy of Las Vegas. Even the hotels are the exact same, except everything is way hotter and way more humid. And that brings me to the tech I didn't bring with me, but I 100% should have brought, and that is a neck fan. I was making fun of my buddy Iskren for bringing his, but a few hours after we arrived, I realized the joke was on me, watching this man stay cool as a cucumber while beads of sweat were forming on my forehead the minute I stepped outside. Don't be stubborn like me. These neck fans might not look cool, but neither does a sweaty face and back. What I did bring, however, and this might sound obvious, is a good travel battery. This one is by a brand called iKnew, and what I like about this thing is that it is very powerful. It packs a ton of juice. It can easily charge my MacBook Air and some other gadgets at the same time without being overly bulky, as you can see. And it is TSA approved, so no worries about taking this on the plane with you at all. They've been putting out some great stuff, so I would really recommend you to check them out. Speaking of other gadgets, I stopped packing a ton of chargers and cables for these trips. There's enough stuff for me to lug around. I really want to keep my tech pouch as light as possible, and my absolute go-to charger for these trips, to charge my iPhone, my Apple Watch, my AirPods Pro, has been this ESR CryoBoost Foldable 3-in-1 charger. If you've been around the channel for a little bit, you may have seen this thing before. It goes pretty much everywhere with me. It's super compact. I can use it either folded like this and charge my phone like that, or I can unfold it and it becomes a full-blown charging station for your Apple Watch, your AirPods, and then whatever phone you have. In my case, that would be an iPhone. What makes this thing my favorite is that it packs the same CryoBoost technology as their desk chargers that I have featured on the channel many times before. This one also fast charges my phone at 25 watts wireless charging, which is fantastic. And because of the CryoBoost, it keeps my phone cool and charging speeds don't get throttled. Pair that with the magnetic Apple Watch charger and the dedicated spot for your AirPods, and you got yourself a really complete little setup. And a little bonus tip, I actually really like using this thing for my AirPods when it's on the nightstand. I don't always bring my Apple Watch, so in those cases, this is really cool. I literally don't need to pack any other chargers, and I cannot recommend this thing enough. So do yourself a favor and grab one using the discount link below the video. Now, as a travel computer these days, my 13-inch MacBook Pro is really all I take. In fact, I don't even own a MacBook Pro anymore. In the studio back home, or here, I have my workhorse, my M3 Ultra Max Studio that can obviously handle literally anything. So when I travel, I get to enjoy this super light setup, really the best of both worlds. These silicon chips are so powerful. This is the M5 MacBook Air with 32 gigabits of unified memory, and it really is more than enough, even for my editing needs. I don't need to apply tons of plugins, etc. when I'm traveling. This is when I organize my footage, maybe do a rough cut before I send it to my editor, and this MacBook Air handles that just fine. Not to mention that 13 inches is the perfect travel size for me, fits on your tray table, slides right into any bag. It's just perfect. Now, with that said, the real MVP on these trips for me is still my trusty iPad mini. You have no idea how much I love this thing. Well, actually, some of you do actually know how much I love this thing because I can't shut up about it. But yeah, this iPad mini is the travel GOAT. When everyone is removing their MacBooks or their iPads from the tray tables so they can eat, this little guy stays put. Because its footprint is so small, it can easily share a space with a dinner tray. It's great for content. Sometimes I use it as a companion display next to my MacBook. It's great for reading in bed. It's such a versatile little tablet, and you hardly notice it in your bag. It's great for handheld gaming too, although lately I have found myself going down somewhat of a gaming handheld rabbit hole, if you will. I started with the Steam Deck, which I still love very much, and do feel free to check out my video on this in case you want to know why. But the Steam Deck is a bit of a chonker, and it is very difficult to find one these days due to all the component shortages. And even if you do manage to find it, it will be stupidly expensive. So I have been on a bit of a quest to replace this thing with cheaper and smaller alternatives. And this has opened up a world of Android handhelds to me. Now, at first, I thought these guys were just, for emulating retro games. And don't get me wrong, that's what they do best, and it's amazing. But these things are so powerful now that you can even play full-blown PC games on these things. Apps like GameHub or Game Native let you connect your Steam library to these things, and you'd be surprised at how many games these things actually manage to play pretty damn smoothly. Of course, there's big differences between brands and configurations, but the top-end ones are becoming powerhouse gaming devices in my opinion. I've really been enjoying this AYN Thor, which is what I brought with me on this China trip. It's one of those more powerful ones, and I got some Steam games loaded onto it. So this isn't streaming, this is actually natively playing my Steam games. But as you can see, it looks and feels a little bit like an old Nintendo 3DS, and it's absolutely perfect for emulating those games. They run beautifully in dual screen mode, but the real kicker is that you can actually upscale your old Nintendo games so they look way better than they used to back in the day. Now, aside from this AYN Thor, there's a few other pretty well-known handhelds, one of them being the Retroid Pocket 6, which does most of the same things the AYN Thor does, but it does it in a very sleek and compact form factor. That is actually reminiscent of a PlayStation Vita, in my opinion, or like a mini Nintendo Switch. Great for certain games, especially platformers or shooters. The problem with these things is that they're sold in batches, so you have to pre-order them on a website, mostly AliExpress, and then wait for months and months to get your unit shipped to you. So imagine my excitement when we were just randomly walking around one of the many tech markets in Shenzhen in China, just casually stumbling upon a booth that had these things in stock in all sorts of configurations and colors. I could literally choose whichever one I wanted and just buy it on the spot. Needless to say, I pulled the trigger immediately and I've been playing the crap out of this thing. And guys, if you are looking for some modern retro action that is funny as hell and very addictive, you have to try Broforce. The mechanics of this game are so good. Anyway, all that gaming does make you cramp up a little bit. So another thing that caught my attention at the tech market was this very weird looking neck massager. I mean, I've seen a ton of neck massagers in my day, but never one with actual hands. And let me tell you, this thing actually feels amazing. And it's only $20, 20 bucks USD. I just had to take it home. Now, if you're wondering what I'm using to film all of this stuff while I'm traveling, let me just turn this thing off. My absolute cheat code has been a DJI Osmo Pocket. I recently upgraded to the Osmo Pocket 4, and there's even a Pro version coming out that I'm really looking forward to. But if you're looking to save some cash, the Pocket Pro 3 is still an amazing little camera, and you can pick it up at a significant discount now that these newer models have dropped. These little cameras are amazing because they sit in that sweet spot between, a phone camera and a professional mirrorless camera. Obviously, it's not always going to be ideal to be filming on a full-blown camera, especially in crowded places like the Shenzhen tech market, and even during events like Beyond Expo. I prefer keeping it light, and most people won't be bothered if they see you filming on one of these, but shoving a mirrorless camera in their faces is a different matter. The massive advantage the Pocket 3 or 4 has over a phone is that this is essentially a camera on a gimbal, which means you get that ultra smooth and stable footage with hardly any effort. Plus, these things are so easy to use that you can ask any friend or person in the street to hold it for you, help you film for a minute. Even if they know nothing about cameras, you just point and film. Can't recommend these cameras enough, especially for travel. Now, with that said, the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is my workhorse phone, if you will, does have a pretty great camera too, and I will definitely use those too, especially for social media, since there will be 0 steps between me filming something and uploading it to Instagram, for instance. I guess a good smartphone will always be the unsung travel hero. Now, speaking of phones, This one is exciting to me. During one of our walks through Shenzhen, we stumbled upon a Huawei flagship store, which was interesting for various reasons. How about this blatant copy of the car I just spent my hard-earned money on? Tell me this thing doesn't look exactly like the Porsche Taycan. At least on the outside. Oh well, China's gonna China, I guess. But as a tech reviewer, there was something else that caught my eye. And not just my eye, Vadim and Iskren actually beat me to it. And it was because of them swarming this thing that I actually noticed this. This is the Huawei Pura X. And if you ask me, this is exactly what I think the new iPhone Ultra is going to look like. Knowing full well we wouldn't be able to use this at its fullest potential, this thing is running Harmony OS, a Chinese version obviously, and it blocks most Western apps. But the hardware alone made us all want to pick one up and get a glimpse of what the new iPhone might feel like. But after some tinkering and Googling, outside of China of course, I found some workarounds that actually let me install most of the apps I use on a daily basis. It's not perfect, but it's definitely usable. Now, would I recommend this thing to you to pick one up? No, I wouldn't. I honestly would wait for Samsung or Apple to launch their book-style foldables. But man, after using this thing for a couple of weeks now, I can actually tell you I'm completely sold on this format. I think this form factor is the future, for sure. Speaking of cool new concepts, we were also invited to the Oppo headquarters as well, where we got a sneak peek of the upcoming Reno and Reno Pro models. And Oppo might have just developed the coolest sidekick for those phones. I think it's gonna make some waves, and definitely get subscribed if you want to follow up on those videos too. I can't show you just yet, there's an embargo on these things, but yeah, it's worth it. This leaves me to give some credit to my trusty old AirPods, both the AirPods Pros and the AirPods Maxes. Man, these are just fantastic travel headphones. The noise canceling is amazing, but the real feature on these things is pass-through. You do not have to take these off at all. They really do sound like you're not wearing anything when transparency mode is on. Nobody does it better, so for me, the AirPods are still the travel goat. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it one of these, and if you didn't, just hit dislike twice. See you in the next one.